got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town.
Welcome to MTG3. Meow. Welcome to MTG3. Yes, 3. And today we got a great episode for you. We're going to talk about a NAYA Landfall deck with the subject being the best 3 mill cards. Yes, we're talking about mill in a non-blue, non-black deck. That is crazy to think about, right? But it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be great. We're gonna start off talking about one card, mention some cards about that card, and as we go on, you'll see the deck we're building, and you're gonna want to build this deck yourself. But this is for Cube. This is for Commander, right? You can meld the two. These cards are great in both formats. And really quick, I want to thank you for watching today's video. I appreciate you 100%. Yes, 100%. I appreciate you for stopping by. And just as a reminder, once we reach 300 subscribers, we'll be doing another $50 gift card giveaway to cardkingdom.com. Now back to the show. And with that, we start right now.
Round 1.
The first card on this list is an altar that you've heard about. You. Well, maybe not you, but you all heard about this card. I know, this card is great in Commander. It's infamous in Commander. It's infamous in old school builds too. But this card is Altar of Dementia. Altar of Dementia costs 2 generic, is an artifact, and has sacrifice a creature. Target player puts the number of cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power from the top of their library into their graveyard. This card is crazy. It is nuts. It is good. It is solid, right? You're milling cards based off the power of creatures. There are some great add-ons in here, right? And as this video progresses, you'll see those add-ons. But right now, I got to put in this flavor. You're gonna run 2 Planeswalkers in your cube or your commander deck. Chandra, the Flamecaller, because her first ability lets you put 2/3/1 red elemental creature tokens with haste onto the battlefield. Then you exile them at the beginning of your next end step. But instead of exiling them, you're going to sacrifice them to Altar Dementia to mill 3 cards off your opponent's library. And Elspeth's Sun Champion, her first ability puts 3 1/1 white soldier creature tokens onto the battlefield. And with that, when you need to, we'll sacrifice them to Altar Dementia. 2 engines that are solid and great for your tokens-based strategy in this landfall-like deck, right? Because there's going to be landfall in this deck, and there's going to be tokens because you need the token mass, right? And these 2 guards will go great. These two planeswalkers will do great with the number 1 card on this list when we get there. But you're going to see how functional that is. And in here, you're going to run a card like Flame Shadow Conjuring for interactions with cards like Avenger Zendikar, right? You're going to cast Avenger Zendikar, and you're going to pay the 1 red, and you're going to duplicate them so you get double the tokens. Yes, the power has increased. Then for a board wipe, you're going to run Martial Coup to wipe the board and get those 1/1 tokens in the battlefield that you're going to eventually sacrifice to Altar Dementia. It is amazing. The one last card you're going to put in here, that's tokens and not landfall, is Ant Queen. Her ability to pay a generic and a green to make a 1/1 insect token is very solid. It's a decent mana sink to get those creatures on board, then sacrifice them to Altar Dementia when need be. These cards are great. This is the start of your cube construction or your commander deck. And this leads us to the second, number 2 card on the list.
Round 2.
The The number 2 card on the list is an amazing Mana Sink. A great artifact that I don't think sees enough play in a lot of decks. I know there's graveyard hate, that people don't like stuff going in the graveyard, or people play cards that shuffle cards from their graveyard back in the library. But milling is just fun, and there are ways to ruin a good day with milling, even in all colors. But with this, we're not worried about that. We're worried about just milling cards. And what card am I talking about? I am talking about, what? Sands of Delirium! Sands of Delirium costs 3 generic mana, is an artifact, has pay X, tap, target player puts the top X cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. Wow! Just a Mana Sink in general. In Cube, this card is strong, it's nuts. In Commander's, the card is still strong, but not as nuts. But that X ability to mill X cards is great late in the game to weaken the deck. Even in a Reanimator deck, milling your opponent out is not always a horrible idea, especially if you can do it quick, fast, and viciously. Because if you can mill out all their win cons as fast as you possibly can, and mill out a lot of the recursion spells before they can reach them, that is nuts. And cards that work great with this. This one's simple, right? You're gonna run ramp, right? You're gonna run ramp to get more mana. You're gonna run cards like Explore, Kodama's Reach, Cultivate, Harrow. These cards are nuts. I mean, if you want to add to it, you can play lands from your graveyard, or play additional lands like Wayward Sawtooth, Strad and Lucia Grub, and Azusa Lost Beseeching. Each let you play an additional plus lands a turn. Helps speeding into that X cost. That X cost getting bigger and more of a threat is solid. Then you can run cards like Crucible of Worlds and Ramnap Excavator to replay your fetch lands like Arid Mesa, Windswept Heath, Wooded Foothills. Those fetch lands are really great, especially when you can play them multiple times a turn with Azusa and whatnot and get double the lands. And that feeds into the landfall mechanic, right? The landfall mechanic. Solid, great, amazing. And with that, my friends, we go to the number 1 third card on top of the list right now.
Round 3.
The number 1 card on top of this list you probably don't even know about. Probably some of you do. But this card is for the Landfall deck, and I guarantee it, this mill card pushes more power than both these 2 cards I've suggested in this video so far combined, especially in the NAYA Landfill deck. Landfall. But the Landfall deck really loves it, because almost anything you play, from a land, planeswalker, creature, artifact, an enchantment, whatever, as long as it's a permanent, you're going to be milling a card. And what card am I talking about? I am talking about this card. I am talking about Altar of the Brood. Altar of the Brood costs 1 generic mana. It's an artifact. And it says, whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent puts the top card of his or her library into his or her graveyard. What? This card is nutty. Not only are some of the cards we've already talked about really good for this card, like Azusa Lost Beseeching and your special lands getting you to double the triggers on your permanents entering the battlefield a turn. You're milling out when you're playing anything that's a permanent. Anything. A landfall synergy, right? We're talking about Felidar Retreat. Felidar Retreat says, create a 2/2 white cat beast creature token if a land you control came into play, right? Or you can +1 your team, which is good for Alter Dementia. You have Firelast World Sculptor, who when it comes into play, creates a 0/1 green plant creature token for each basic land you control, Not as strong as some of the cards you'll see on the set, but that feeds into Alter the Brood. Then once they get +1 counters on them, you can sacrifice them to the Dementia. Then you have Primeval Titan. This card is more for cube than commander, but when he enters the battlefield, you search your library for 2 lands and put them in the battlefield. And then when he attacks, you do the same thing. More milling triggers. You got Rampaging Baloth, who creates 4/4 tokens every time a land comes in the battlefield. That's more milling off Alter the Brood. You have Scoot Swarm, who creates 1/1 insect creature tokens and gets even crazier when you reach its threshold to create more Scoot Swarm tokens. Just amazing. Then playing cards like Avenger Zendikar, who puts a 0/1 plant token onto the battlefield for each land you control. That's a lot of milling with Alter of the Brood. This card is crazy. Tops number 1, number 3 on the list. Yes, this is the top card on the list because it interacts more aggressively than the other 2 cards. Alter of the Brood should be in your commander decks, should be in your cubes as alternate win conditions and alternate deck synergies. And with that, we find ourselves at the end step.
You listening? Damn.
Go, 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 go.
And to answer last week's question, who's your favorite back commander, we have Clay Gilman saying, I enjoy my Arcades the Strategist deck, but I want to build Esper. Well, Arcades looks like a fun commander, right? Working around walls, defender, all that fun jazz. Good answer to the question. And thank you for your response. Thank you for your interaction. I appreciate it 100%. And for today's question of the day, I must ask, what is your favorite commander strategy? Let me know your answers in the comment selection below. And with that, until next time, my friends, play wise. I totally want to thank you for watching today's video. I really appreciate it 100%. Like this video as if it's your favorite kind of pizza, dude. And if you wouldn't mind, consider smashing that subscribe button and hit that bell for notifications. Every one of these things you do helps the channel out a lot.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly, thoughts jumbled around, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative, I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go